Hi everyone, we've got a really special stream for you guys tonight. It's our regular poker headline stream, but then last minute we got details about what's going on with the Midway Poker Tour, and you guys all remember Lightning from all my past streams. And also, you guys know Maureen, who's my regular co-host. She's over in Switzerland. Good morning to Maureen. And then Bryant's on the call, but he's not in the video. He did cash, so he's going to tell us about his experience when we get to that. Okay, so the Midway Poker Tour. Lightning, last I saw, this is what you posted. You said you're the winner, the first winner in history of the Midway Poker Tour.
Yeah, so in the 2 nights leading up to the day 1 of the tournament, they had cash game, and in that game, whoever won the most money won a watch, and the watch is the same watch that the main event winners got.
Oh, wow. So it was live stream, and it was held at a hotel. Is that correct?
The Sheraton, yeah.
How's the cage set up? Like, tell us what that's like.
Well, those are some of the concerns. I think Bryant probably shared these concerns as well, that there really isn't a cage. And so when you get there and you realize what's going on, you start to question who's holding the money, where are they holding it? There's no security. There's no police. And so for me, probably, Bryant, you can chime in on this too. That was like when I got there, the first red flag for me is like there's no security around the money.
Yeah, like it was all very weird. I played a lot of charity games in a lot of places, and it's always kind of has an element of shadiness. But when I got here, it was very weird. It's too much money for no security, and no one really knew what's happening.
And you didn't know anything about the organizer or anything.
I know Dan Bekovich, who's the one that owns the tour, I suppose, but it was backed by some pretty good people in the poker industry. So, and so when those guys were involved, that Dan Bekovich, the one who owns it, is the one a lot of people had questions about.
Okay, so yeah, so that was the last tweet that I saw. And then just 8 hours ago, you tweeted, "Holy shit, they've stopped the tournament and don't have enough money to do payouts. So pissed, I came to Chicago to support this train wreck. Over 60,000 missing. Read the thread and share the post. Everyone avoid Danny and Midway Poker." So you were pretty angry in this post, right?
Well, I think that was right after I got off the phone with Bryant, and we both were like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Right? Because it was basically a dumpster fire from the minute that they started doing payouts, and Bryant was a part of that for sure.
They started off kind of weird because it was supposed to restart at 11, and everyone's down there at 11, and they said they were delaying the tournament for half an hour because they don't have enough chips to start the day. Apparently on the day 1A, they didn't actually bag people. They just wrote down their chip numbers. And for 1B, they did bag. So when they were setting everyone's chips up, they didn't have enough 25Ks. So, and none of the people from the Midway Poker Tour were there, so Eric was dealing with it. He had to run to his trailer to get his set of 25Ks. So once that all happened, he got back, and then there were some rumblings about there wasn't going to be the prize pool was going to be paid partially in coins and stuff. It all went downhill from there.
So who's Eric? Explain that to me.
The person that really was the face of the Mid-States Poker Tour was Eric Anderson for a long time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start from the beginning, and you guys just stop me, interrupt me, and explain to me, because I'm just going off the post that we've read on 2+2. So originally, and I think, Maureen, we've even mentioned this on stream, that they posted that they were going to be doing a 100K guarantee, an 1,100 buy-in. So it was explained to everyone that 980 was going to the prize pool, 100 was rake, and 20 to the dealers. So that equals 1,100.
Mm-hmm.
Now tell us about this. So apparently when you had to sign up through the PokerBros app. You had to register through his club.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to give some information just to be totally transparent. I was aware that they were going to give out gold coins or some kind of memorabilia or some kind of token or some kind of certificate or something that some guy sitting in a chair in the next room was going to immediately buy back from people. I knew that because I knew Eric was involved with the tournament. I'm pretty close with Eric. When this tournament came out, I called him and said, "Hey, I have questions. This is in a hotel. What about security? How are they doing? If it's a charity event, how are they doing payouts? How are they going to control the money? Blah, blah, blah." And he was transparent with me about this. So, but I think the problem is if you didn't reach out to him directly with questions, everything was advertised as cash payouts. The whole part of the whole Midway Poker Tour thing is to get people to sign up for PokerBros, right? And be an agent on there and get rake out of it. That was a little sketchy. A lot of people didn't like that. They show up and they're immediately asked to set up a account on PokerBros to be able to register for the tournament. When you registered for the tournament, they had a little wheel that you would spin and you would get like $20 or $50 that they would load onto PokerBros for you. And then you'd be assigned an agent that you could interact with if you ever wanted to load more money on there via Venmo or PayPal or whatever. A lot of the people that showed up there already had it, but it was kind of a strange requirement to play in the tournament, you know, which, by the way, is illegal to do, and they're doing it openly in the hotel lobby, essentially.
Being a player at the Chicago poker scene, seeing these billboards for charity event, arriving at the event, having everything billboard as a charity event, was anything weird about that, or is that normal in the Chicago poker scene to see this all the time?
It wasn't too weird because I play a lot in Indiana, and Indiana has similarish charity casino rules. Like, but in the Indiana ones, there's none of the nonsense about no cash. It's just like a faux casino where it acts as a normal casino. So I kind of thought that this Chicago tournament would be under kind of the same legal loopholes where it was similar to the Indiana ones, but I was unaware that there was extra laws or whatever about payouts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as they kind of mentioned, so day 2 happened, and apparently some people, the tournament director makes a loud speech and says, apparently some people are just finding this out, but per Illinois charity gaming regulations, we can only pay out $1,600 in cash. Anything above that will be given out in precious metals. Which, honestly, like, if you didn't know that in advance, it would be kind of a shock.
Just before the restart, maybe 15 minutes or so, Eric was explaining to the group of people that outside that was what was going to happen. So the majority of people, prior to actually being in the tournament room, kind of knew what was going on slightly before it. And everyone was like, that's kind of weird, but it's fine. It's gold and silver. It's not that big of a deal.
And chat just asked this, Ranger, and I was thinking the same thing when I was reading about it. Like, why was it gold and metal versus Bitcoin?
They said that they had to provide a receipt for something for the attorney general that came in and demanded that for the charity to go on or whatever. They needed a receipt to prove that they spent the money and that people were actually getting something other than cash.
And a Bitcoin receipt doesn't work?
Well, I think in this particular case, they're not allowed to give out cash or an equivalent. And I think even a transfer, someone in the chat is asking, well, still, why not just get a receipt from Coinbase? Because it's just like, it'd be no different than if they were just paying out Venmo or PayPal. It's just a transfer of cash. Yeah, and so there's a culmination of things, I think, as I was saying before the stream, that kind of made it really incendiary quickly. There was very little communication to anybody about this prior to the charity event starting, so the payouts specifically. And I think they probably did that on purpose. I think if everyone knew that they were going to be paying out and, you know, there's going to be some process for getting paid out, they probably got a lot less players there, number one. Number two, from the get-go, there were some sketchy things, having to sign up for PokerBros, a couple of other things. Even in the cash games, even like the chip sets, for example. For me, I played in the cash game. I had a couple of 1K chips. When I sat down to play the tournament the next day, they were using the exact same 1K chips for 1K chips in the tournament. And I was
Oh,
just thinking to myself, man, this is like so basic. Don't do
yeah.
this. Someone could just palm one of these things and go cash it in, you know? And kind of a flag for me was, when we finished the PLO session, when I went to cash out, they wanted to Venmo me the money instead of giving me the cash, and I had bought in for cash. But that's not really unprecedented. People buy into cash games all the time with Venmo now. It's kind of a regular thing, but just a little different from something that's a charity because you expect them to be tracking the money. That's why it kind of stood out to me a little bit. Does that make sense? I think the real breakdown was HPT Jeremy um, quit the night before when he found out all this was going to happen. And so he just walked out, didn't show up for day 2. So there's no tournament director at the beginning of day 2. And also Dan, the guy that owns, who should be the face of it, can't be found. He's not responding to any text or any text messages. There's a lot of rumors about how much cash is on hand, how much silver and gold was actually purchased, what the real value of the stuff was, whether it was actually pure or not.
Yeah, so 1600 in cash, everything else was being given in precious metals. Now, where this all breaks down is the original poster on 2+2. That's his screen name, LSGFKLD. He says he cashed for 2600. He was awarded the 1600 in cash and then 28 1-ounce silver coins, which he was told equals $1,000. So 1600 plus $1,000 in silver coins equals 2,600. I guess then he gets to his hotel and someone mentions to him that, hey, no, silver, that's not how much an ounce of silver is. And I did a Google search, and right now a silver ounce is $21 US, or he only got around $600, and there's $393 missing, so $400 missing from what he thought he cashed out. Now, Brian, so you cashed today?
Yes, I cashed for the 2600, same as him. Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 before him. Got the 1600 in cash. Actually, I had kind of knew what silver was going for. I knew it was between 20 and 25. So I was like, if you're only giving me 28 of this, is like between $600 and $700. Where's the extra $300? And I don't remember. It was one of the ladies that was working. She said that they had to pay a big markup because they got it the night before or something, and that's just that was just gonna be how it was gonna be. And I wasn't. I was kind of annoyed that I busted the tournament. I just wanted to get out of there, so it's like fine, whatever. That's
Oh,
fine.
wow. But you actually asked them that at like the made up cage area.
Yeah, I'm just like, this isn't. Where's the extra money at? Like, what is this? They said they had to pay a big premium for it to get it that night.
And for all of us, don't we all just think that's not your problem that they paid a premium?
Yeah.
It was absurd.
It was like 30% or something, wasn't it, Brian?
Yeah, it was almost exactly 30%. Like, out of the 1,000 I was supposed to get in silver, I only got like 650 worth.
And I think they had to overpay for it because the quantity that they needed, they were unable to get in such short notice. And so there was somebody that they got a hold of. What I've heard is somebody from Wisconsin that they knew said, hey, I'll bring it from Wisconsin, but for me to go and get it and do that tonight, you're going to have to pay this amount for
A premium.
And so they agreed to do that just to get it on site.
Who is the silver guy? Like, is he a connection? Is he just someone they found out of the blue? Because what chat keeps on saying is $11 over an ounce is ridiculous.
I mean, I found the silver guy on Instagram and I messaged him a couple times and he actually responded.
Oh, what did you say and what did he say?
Well, I was like, hey, sorry, but I had to see if I'd get a response. What do you know what's going on with the Midway Tour thing? Hope you're not in on it. There's some craziness going on. He said, basically, we were called at 1 a.m. this morning and asked if we could get the silver there. We gave them a price. They agreed to it. We brought the silver. I was just the runner in the middle. We had nothing to do with the tournament itself. I said, no worries if that's true. I understand. There is a huge debacle currently going on as the payouts for the tournament are nowhere near what they should be. He said some of the coins are $28 to $44. We had to bring what we had on hand, and it happened to be mostly premium coins that cost more. He sent me a couple screenshots of some of the coins.
Wait,
And
that
I said it's
point
very
is
odd.
significant. Mostly premium coins. So it sounds like not all
Yeah.
of them were.
Yeah, he said that they didn't know either that they couldn't do cash payouts. That's why they got a call at 1 a.m. They don't. He said we don't know even the guys that are running it. Someone in there just knew we might be able to get the silver. Yeah, that was it. So
Oh, I'm glad you read that. That's really interesting. Well, Brian, if you knew that it was going to be gold or silver in the first place, would you have participated?
probably I would
Okay,
have.
so now that that's checked off, what about if it was gift cards, like a Visa or a MasterCard gift card?
I probably would have shown up no matter if as long as I was getting something worth of value, I probably would have still shown up.
Okay. And then what if you knew that there was a 30% premium?
I probably would have stayed home and played some online poker.
Yeah, I wouldn't have went to a charity event for a 30% rake either. But one of the nice things was essentially it was 5% rake until this happened.
Yeah, it was like for a charity event, that's not a big rake.
No.
Okay, so then the Midway Poker Tour actually released a statement.
In retrospect, I mean, Brian's got a little bit of a development. You want to share that, Brian?
Yeah, so I was on their Facebook page seeing what was going on, and I saw that he had made a post where it was a screenshot of a text message he had sent to someone where the guy was complaining like, "Hey, dude, why did you scum me? Um, I should be paid more." And he sent him some Apple Pay for the amount difference, which was like $900. So I sent a Facebook message, and I'm like, "Hey, I cashed in 20th place for 2,600. I only received around $2,300 worth of stuff. I'm missing like $350. If you want to make it right." I sent him my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo info. And said, "If you want to make it right, send it here." Shortly thereafter, he sent me a message back on Facebook and said to send him an email with the same information. I did that, and then about an hour later, I had $350 in my cash out.
So that's some good news. If there's anybody in chat that is still owed money from that, Bryant did message them directly on their Facebook page and said, "Hey, I'm one of the guys that cashed. I was shorted about 350 or 400 bucks or whatever it was." They said send him an email. He sent him an email. Within an hour, he got paid the difference.
Okay, so yeah, I have that on screen. Now he's saying he needs a receipt. So had you already transferred your silver into cash and then had a receipt from that?
No, I told him that I plan on just keeping it. But as whatever the going rate online was at the time, which was like 23.50 is what I think I found and what I said. I said the equivalency would be about 350 difference. And he said that's fine and just sent me the money.
A couple of things in his post that I still have concerns about is he owns the poker tour, and he said the decision wasn't his. And so I would like to know who did make that decision. He said this option wasn't chosen. It was decided that silver would be purchased by a supplier at $3,500 per ounce. This was not my decision. So again, it's his tour. Any decision that is made, he needs to own it. And that's kind of what we were talking about is the guy's trying to blame the state investigator. Yeah. What could have kept this from spiraling out of control completely is just a presence. If he would have been there, I mean, literally, the place is burning down. People are yelling at each other in the poker room at the final table. They have no idea what's going on with the payouts. There's no tournament director there. The owner's not there. He's not responding to any text messages or any phone calls, and he has not been on the property since the day before. And so, everybody starts to immediately assume that they're getting ripped off. It's nice to see a couple $350 payments, a $900 payment. The difference for that first place guy is almost $25,000. So I want to see a receipt for that PayPal or that Venmo or that Zelle. That's the one that's really important. If he would have just been there and said, "Hey, look, this is what we had to deal with. This is what's happening. Unfortunately, it is going to be a 30% rake. Here's what I'm willing to do in return. I can." There's all kinds of things he could have done. He could have offered people tour credits where they could, essentially have buy-ins for future tournaments. It was a shit show. I think Bryant said he got paid the difference. Um, I I would like to hear from some of the other people that cashed that are in the chat if they've been paid the difference yet.
So Paul says he got third and he hasn't been paid the difference. I'm asking you, have you requested the difference yet?
So Paul is saying he hasn't heard anything. There's another player in chat who said he was short $1,400 and some dollars, and he's been sending him messages and getting nothing. So it's going to say a lot about those guys if they find a way to make it right. So time will tell. We'll give it a couple of days and see what shakes out.